So, morning's in. Traditional backtest. We'll go zoomed in. And we'll go all the way back. Where are we here? July 21st. What day is July 21st? Sunday. There you go. Some Monday action for you. That'll work. And we'll start at our standard 8:30 in the a.m. So, the little bit of information we've got appears we've got a range going on here. Oops. Did I click all charts? No, I did not. Is that in this? I don't think I have that drop down. No. Maybe I have to update my trading view or something. Yeah, I know they're rolling out with that. That'll be a pretty cool feature. I think so. So, regarding this area, pretty large range, right? Calling it 120 points here, 21st of July, 22nd of July. Pretty clear spot. We've barely tapped into it. Cool. Strong reaction out. Strong reaction out of where? The 1 minute SNDR itself that was formed. This swing here is our intermediate time frame movement that we haven't really traded back into yet. You can also argue here that you have a larger swing. Come on. There you go. That has not been traded into yet. Well, you could argue that we've traded into maybe the 30% of it. Doesn't even look like it's hit that. So we've got multiple reasons to go lower, but we're spiking higher. Now, this is your standard strong price action where the majority of retail is looking for the short to come back in, the short to come back in, the short to come back in. They're going to be right at one point if their account survives till then, right? But we understand, what are we looking for a trend to finalize, right? We need failure, right? We're not seeing any of that so far. So as it stands right now, clearly bullish. We are got 8:30. I don't know if there's news today or not. I suppose we'll find out pretty quick. But as it stands right now, not looking for anything to trade back in. This would be an area I'd be looking for a move out. You likely don't have anything part of structure on the 15-minute until this area here. Okay? I think we can all understand that. So let's play a little bit further. We'll see if we can spot when the trend might be looking to at least roll back. What we're looking for is, do we get failure underneath? Right, so this is a predominant low on your 1 minute time frame. Should we get a sweep and a fail? That would probably take us above a high. But we have to be very careful of longs given that we don't have anything structural. Right? It could just wipe all of this out and take us with it. We've got a swing here, looks like Another swing there. I don't think that was reset. No. Okay, let's keep going. So 9 a.m. We've got this area of interest here for continuation. Most notably our 1 minute SNDR here. See if we get a sweep of that for a movement back up to these highs. That's not really what I'm looking for failure. Right? I need something that's equivalent to this time frame. So this is a 1 minute retracement, which does what? Pulls back on your 50-minute time frame, right? For us to actually have failure, we need that second push, which gives us our 15-minute candle, which now goes lower. Just to reiterate some basics. Okay, expectation now, these highs go. I'm not interested in anything long yet. This would have been somewhere where I'd be looking for a scalp. Second entry, right here. Right, so you're looking for that sweep of that candle, cool. If we buy the close, our stop goes below, say 10 points. And that high is 31, 31.25. There. So, beautiful gift of a retest. Thank you very much. Let's see what we get. What kind of delivery? Good. Excellent. Might retest this swing down. We'll see. There it is. Right. So, again, sweep below this candle. Let's get rid of these no gaps. Right? We might expect a trade back into this. Sweeping below or trading back into the open with strength would give us an adding opportunity if that's your flavor. And looks like no adding opportunity it is. Cool. Casual, what, 18 points from a second entry. Beautiful. But the key is the SMDR itself. Right? Consolidation. 1 minute failure. Expecting this high to be at least retested. And away you go. 9.10, 9.20. Not interested in short. I don't care what it does. Looking kind of toppy here. We'll see what we get. Again, not interested in short, but looking at this, possible reversal coming. Body closure, expect to retrace back down, probably to this range. Anybody looking for a short? How many aggressive people we've got? Again, nothing I'm interested in taking, but we're looking at this. If we're still long and we get failure, we can look for retracement. Whoa. Hello, 9:30 candle. Probably should have looked at the time. Oh, okay. Right, so equal highs, swept, failed. Swept again, actually. But was looking at this consolidation as potential final flag type PA. Now, 9:30 a.m. candle obviously helped with that. We'll see if we take this low or not. We could very well be looking at, because of the strength, we could just careen down, which would be cool. If we fail in here, then we go up above that high and we run both out before a major move comes. Look at that. Look how many people went long here without it taking something. Right? Candle opens, trades higher, gets everybody interested. Wrecked. That's where our model saves us. Anybody aggressive? This protected low there, not taken. This one was. Might get a trade back up in. Your target would be this consolidation, so it's quite a lengthy target. What are we thinking? I'm just going to let it play out a little bit. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. It very well could take this low. Why? Downtrend. If it's a downtrend, which we've got a body closure here. Right? Our confirmation long of our 15 is all the way down here. So we've got this target on the way down. You've got, yeah, looks like this target on the way down. You've got this target on the way down. And you've got, looks like this one as well. Come on, there you go. And then obviously here. I'm looking for something within this SMDR, likely going to be in this area here. Because that's the confluence between our untapped zone and the SMDR itself. I'm not expecting it to tap into it here and go. We've already done that. 7:30 to 8 o'clock structure mitigated. Nope. Not yet. Let's see if we get something taken and we get sweep entry. Okay. Oh, no sweeping. Violent. Now we've moved quite a bit. And we've got a bit of a climactic bar here that's closed on this low. Should you get a sweep here, that might take you back in for a scalp. But obviously that's highly aggressive. And there it is. Actually, speaking of, right? Why are we expecting it on this candle and not something here? Because these ones, although they have buying, this one was more climactic. Right? We closed on our low here after taking an objective. Actually, we took two objectives. Right? So this one opens, trades lower, trades through. This gives you your scalp, your CRT scalp as well, above that candle. Now, this candle, dangerous. We could trade back down to here and then go. We could also just sell off completely from this candle. Both are equally viable. We've got many targets below. This was explosive. But given the body closure above this, if we find strength here, that would send us back up to this. Ooh. And looks like we don't even get it. Okay. Not seeing anything that would give me cause to short regardless of structure. Right? I need some sort of major selling pressure in here. As it stands right now, it looks like we go over this high. And there it goes. Okay. Right? Expansionary trading. I need to see bars really like slowing down, getting smaller, having large wicks, something. Absence of that means that it's taking liquidity rather than leading to a reversal, right? This is leading to a reversal. This is leading to liquidity. Okay. So, anybody watch the inverse SNDR model? Right? Into your area of interest. You might get a sweep of this area, in which case, well, we might get a scalp out of this. If we get a sweep of this below, that would actually be my entry. Yeah, this is a little difficult. The idea is that as we trade into this, we would expect a reaction from it. And not just us, but everybody would be expecting this. So there was actually quite a bit of volume in this that we can't see. The idea is that when we trade back down into it, there's mitigation that occurs and we actually go higher, if we go higher. What I typically like to see is a little bit more of a reaction. We haven't traded to this open or below, so I'm actually going to hold off on this entry just yet. If we can sweep below this candle and fail, then I would be interested in this model. But I need to see the lower time frame objective being completed first. Let's see what our next candle brings. If we get a sweep of this, that's where our entry will be at the 44s or so. Not yet. You would have gotten a decent trade out of it, but again, I would have canceled that. So forget about those points. Okay. Awesome. What was that low? 32? 32? So we're looking at, let's say hypothetically that we're in conservatively. Yeah, we'll be in from the low of that candle. Our stop's now below this. Right? And our expectation is much higher. 79.50, so 79.25. Right? 3.17. You guys know how little I actually look at risk reward, but let's see what we get. Whoop. Okay. Nice trade so far. Let's see if we get follow through. That's some intense selling pressure. Okay, stop below this. I don't want it to go further than that. That's good. That's a really good response. Stop below that candle now. And still looking for this high. Excellent. Cool. So why are we looking below or looking for a little bit lower? We hadn't met our objectives yet. Typically, if we haven't swept this high, that's why that high was the target. I would expect it to be traded back into. Something like this, we do not. We've actually taken the liquidity above us. Something here with this PA, that's unfinished business. It's not done yet. So what do we look for? We look for failure underneath. Failure underneath. Inside of our area of interest, you could argue this was your SFDR, which tapped into. right? Which I wasn't looking at, in fairness. I was a little bit too starry-eyed with this new model. With the creating a valid high, I wouldn't get you out of that trade. It's an interesting idea. I wouldn't have been happy with this candle at all. No, I would not. But I would have allowed it to play out here. If I wasn't in yet, this would have made me not get in. But given that I was in the trade, the idea is still sound, even with a valid high. And what I like is that we did sweep this candle. So what you'll see, and you'll see this quite often actually, is you'll see a CRT candle that does exactly what we want, right? Sweeping below should take us above. And then you'll see us trade into that failure without violating the side of it. So it's almost like there's some additional study that we need to do. And actually this is something that I should be doing, where this candle here becomes our last structural candle in this downtrend, because this candle didn't close below here, which is highly advanced, right? So I consider this here as our low end of the range, and it's just playing around inside of it with the expectation of trading higher. Does that make sense at all? Kind of. Right? So it's like, what's our predominant piece of information that we're failing here? We've got our range. We are expecting higher. This is our entry trigger. We're not thrilled with this, but it doesn't invalidate the idea because we haven't violated the range yet. It very well could have traded down here. In fact, given this PA, I am expecting it to trade below there. I would be shocked if with this movement that we didn't have some madness come in. Let's see what we got. CRT is, yeah, it's candle range theory. So if we're failing underneath the candle, this candle is now, the high of it is now weak because we failed the other end of it. And you'll typically find that we trade to the open or to the high of it. So we can use it as additional confluence for our bias. Right? So if we're long, ideally we should still be long and we're just trailing our lows here. Instead we took, what, 36 points and we missed out on another 40 so far. My goodness. Okay. Cheat code, maybe? At least to the high. There's your high. That's vicious. Hopefully nobody looking long just yet. We've got this area to trade back into. They're trying their best. Anybody long off this pressure? Or are we expecting lower? Cool. Wait for a sweep to get long. Aggressive. Don't like that. Would expect a second retest. What kind of candles we got going on here? 954. Right, so this is all one 15-minute bar so far. Our 15-minute candle opened here, traded higher. We've got 5 minutes. If it comes back down, that's going to look very, very bad. What time is this? 9:56. Got 4 minutes. Whoop. Looks like we get a wick on our 15-minute. Right? Would expect something again. But this is vicious. Not quite. I suppose it tapped into there. But that's kind of our magnet right now. Ooh, did that give us a wick? Nothing. Lower we go. There's a nice sweep. Anybody interested in this? Or are we looking at these two? How aggressive are we feeling? Fast out, fast back in. You might get a scalp here. Yikes. Traded above, failed, down it goes. Where's our magnet? Okay. Something in here. We are violently moving. We don't really have any structure coming in. We do have some profit taking for sure. But we're in no hurry to take a long just yet. Okay. See what the response of this is. Okay. Oof. Right. So, same sort of thing. If we get failure, take us back up, at least above that. Climactic candle. Highly aggressive trade. We'll see. Double inside. Ooh, dangerous. Another double inside. And movement up. Okay. That was a little vicious, wasn't it? So no way for me to get involved here. Yes, it's in the area of interest, but no model trades for me here. So I can safely say I would have missed this. We've got this area of interest for sure, unmitigated. This we probably wreck. You'd be looking for this being a target, at least initially. Should this move back down, then we take a trade up to this. The expectation is that we revisit this area here. Why? Because if we're going to move down on a higher time frame, then we need a higher time frame failure. Make sense? Let's clear up some of this nonsense. Okay. Ooh, anybody short? Or are we spooked by this? Short, short, short. Right? Middle of the range. Dangerous, isn't it? Our expectation is to trade up to here. This would be a retracement. But you're right, yes. This area was responsible for continuation. This area broke it, which is why we're not interested in shorting here. We're actually looking at this area being strong, at least for the first test. But recall that that doesn't mean that we short here for cataclysm. It can also mean that we've entered a trading range. Right? Regardless, this would be a decent area to expect a short out of. Right? And if we're wrong, then we're wrong. But so you short at the close of this. I'd ideally be in as it trades back to this open with the reaction of here. Right? We've got a tight stop. Your minimum target is where? That candle. Your stretch target is where? Probably back down to this area here. Why that area there? Because we were in a downtrend. It broke. Using this area here, made a decision to continue higher. And you can see that by the capitulation candle from short-term shorts here. Right? So, no short for me. Cool. We got a couple aggressive people. One to one. Okay. JB's already out, taking 5 points. Anybody else want to weigh in on this? Are we awake? Okay. Not making it or making a decision to not trade is still a decision. That gives you clarity over what you see, what you like, and your setups. And that's fine. You could be looking for long. You could be looking for higher. It very well could. Right? Essentially what we're analyzing is it going to do this, which is also valid? Is this going to trade down to here, this area, and we just get out for a scalp? Or are they going to buy this candle and melt us? Potentially sweeping this NDR. All equally viable scenarios, right? I'm more leaning on the downside of this. But the interesting discussion is using CRT, we would expect to trade down to here, right? And that gives us our highly aggressive trade. If you're waiting for something more conservative, you're looking for essentially some sort of lethargic movement leading to a rejection at our highs. And that's fine too. For the scalpers, this is a trade that you're interested in. For those of you that are more conservative, you're waiting. Well, that paid pretty nicely. In fact, it's probably heading down to here now. Okay. And looks like no opportunity long. Closure above this candle, probably leading higher now. What do we get? Oh dear. Dueling opinions. Dueling opinions. What are our dueling opinions? Yeah. Respecting the open of this candle here. No bueno. And yet failing the low of this candle here. Also no bueno. Major sit on hands action for me. Leaning bullish. Why? Because of this area here being respected. But not what I have wanted to see given long. Right? So holding that open, leading lower, cool. Looks like we've swept below now. Very likely we get a bit of a range here. Ooh. Oh dear. Made a decision. That's rough. That's rough. Yeah, that would be a low risk buy for a cheat code. But we've got a lot of volume down here. So low probability, but low risk. Yeah, bang. That's rough. There's your tap back into the range and your sweep. And your sweep. Right? So expansionary movement, trades back into the range. Yeah. We're looking. Come on. Low of that candle, let's say we're conservative. Right? We're not in at the peak low. We're just trading based off PA. Get 10-point stomp. Cool. Where's your target? Your target is probably this week high here at 71.25. Just a casual 37-point trade. It's about 3 times too small for Tom's tastes, but let's see what we got. Everybody on board with this, or are we waiting? A little change in order flow. A little bit more aggressive than what we would have liked. But we all understand why we're not looking short here, yes? For sure. We can have higher time frame ideas, but we have to listen to price. Right? We swept above, yes. That means we're not holding on to this for another 30 points of drawdown. We're now sweeping here. Now this is violent. We might get some chop. Who knows? But you gotta take your shots based off of what price is telling you. What you see. Failing above in this imbalance, we're going to retest this candle at minimum. We'll see. And if we're wrong, then we're wrong. We take our loss. Sweeping again, retesting the open, finding more strength inside of this zone. Our stop gets shortened now to that low here. Why? Response from this was buying. We then sold off and buyers stepped back in. So it attempted to sell off and it failed. That's why your stop goes below here now. Right? Once this candle trades above, yes, you have your imbalance, but we're expecting this imbalance to be disrespected inside of an uptrend. This is where your ICT bros get it kind of wrong. And up 33. Who's going to hold for the extra 3 points? Should we trail our lows rather than taking us here? There's a different kind of question. Or are we expecting more range-bound PA? Challenging, isn't it? We're inside of an SNDR. That broke SNDR that we've got a reaction out of. Flat bottom to candle with deter trailing. Very true. Very true. The greed in us would want us to go up to here, wouldn't it? Or at least this high. Especially if we've had frustrating trades in here. Who's been there? Like, oh, I'm long, I'm up 20, 30 points, and it took me, I'll break even. Looking for this. So now we emotionally, when we're long here, we're just moving our stop and we're just wanting kaboom. I do like what Stallone said about this flat bottom candle. So what I do in these situations where I've got reasons to go lower and also reasons to go higher, this is where I use a little bit of discretion. So you'll see me move my target like this. But as we break this high, I've got my finger on the close trigger. And should we sweep and fail, then I actually give up a few points rather than taking it off at the high. So should we trade up and then come back into here, then I'm gone here. And what that does is it offers flexibility in exchange for, say, 5 or 10 points here. And what that does for me is it allows me to look at this, and even if a third of my trades start flying, and I'm now following the lows, then I start moving my stop up. And if it comes back in, then I'm gone, and then I give up a few points in exchange for not allowing it to come back down to our lower time frame potential objective. So let's see how I would have traded this. Right? So that looked like it came back up, came back in, and then ran. Right now our stop is here. Right? What I'm looking at is, do we accelerate underneath this or not? Right? So what happened here is, instead of taking this high at 71.50, we actually grabbed a few less points on this. Now this very well could bounce off of here and go higher. In fact, I'm expecting it because we didn't sweep that high. Which sucks because at minimum we're going to trade above 84 and it's at 61, so there's an extra 20 points here minimum that we're going to grab. But our job is to manage risk. And you don't do that by holding what you want to happen. You have to put into your system what price is doing. Right? And now if you decide to take a long here for that, that's your system. It's not anything I'm interested in, right? We've got this movement here, which I don't really expect it to trade back into. Sweeping the candle, definitely good for a long, and there goes the high. So, annoying, but we'll take our 31 points and go from there. Oof. It'll be interesting to see what the response of this is. Should we get failure in here, even without running this high, we've now got our retest and lower. Right? Should this area fail, we're really going lower. That's not to suggest that we don't run up here later on, because again, we want this high to get taken. We want all this liquidity in here to be purged to really go down. Right? So if we start seeing lethargic swings leading to a rejection that doesn't take liquidity, we're saving it for later on, but we also have to understand that if we're going to fail in here, what that looks like, and it takes out all of this. Good response. Still haven't traded into this swing. Right? So what do we need to get short? We need a sweep of this high right now. Does that mean we can fall from, or does that mean we don't fall from here? No, it doesn't. We have to have a methodical way of getting involved in this. Right now, we're actually looking at potentially going long off of this, because our expectation is this high gets taken. But I'm not interested in longing at the top of a range for sure. And I'd be actually very careful longing from down here, but if we get failure or a nice trade, then we will take that. Looks like it wants to go lower. What are you guys thinking? Change in order flow, okay. Sitting on hands, okay. What are you hunting for right now if you're sitting on hands? Because it's good to be sitting on your hands, but that means or implies that you're waiting for something. Are you waiting for it to go up and fail and then you go short? Are you waiting for a long out of here? Okay. Protected low likely, okay. So that's important because that's the main thing we're looking for right now. What happens if this gets taken here? Let's actually get rid of this. If we take this, now you're monitoring something to come back into here. But the fear of what happens if this gets taken is that this swing gets mitigated, which can really lead us higher. So that's tricky, looking for this, isn't it? I like the area of the last trade as an SMDR for the scalp long, okay? Okay. So protected low taken, cool. Back into the range. This looks dangerous to take this low. Ooh, vicious. Still vicious. Can you understand why there's indecision here? People really like going long here, and yet there's some major selling pressure coming in, or at least range bound after a large move. They did close lower, that's right. Expecting the lows, okay. Ooh. Well, you can even argue this one, I suppose. Either way, you have your little SMDR here, which broke that high. So we're trading to the midpoint of that one instead. This is the main reason I don't use these midpoints, by the way. I'm looking at the refined areas within the zone. So us respecting this, failing higher, dangerous. Looks like we at least trade above this right now. There it goes. This will be an important candle that comes after this. We've traded now into this area of interest. More specifically, this fractal where we made the decision to start this run down. We've broken a protected low. And yet we've also tapped into this SMDR. So should we get indecision or bullish PA, we go above here. By extension, we go above this. Why after this candle? Because now we're sweeping and failing here. So if the response is bullish, then we really go higher. If the response is bearish, then we really go lower. Does everybody understand that? It's a very important concept. This is a really, really big decision point coming in. And it has to be after this candle. Right? It wouldn't have been after this one, but the market is now telling us with this candle here that something is going to happen. Whoop. Okay. Dangerous. Dangerous. That was really rough. Really rough. Didn't sweep the high or the low. Certainly heading lower now. Wow. Well, candlesticks. What do we got lower? Everybody short got paid. What do we got lower? Now, just going to throw that out there. I don't think anybody is really looking at going long off of these lows. I hope. I hope. I'm going to remove this one. And the reason because on reflection, we have this area here which was already mitigated. So should we take this low, this one's gone. There's no need for us to mark that one out because it's already been mitigated. Whereas this low here didn't mitigate this one. It's a bit of an important concept because we're talking about liquidity and zones that have been mitigated or not. Anybody looking along at all underneath this? Or are we really expecting lower now? Lower. Imbalance. Right? Sweeping this candle, but into imbalance. We might get a retest of something like this, right? Which would coincide with this low. Not interested in long, but we're looking at areas where we would potentially get short, right? So those of you that enjoy trading off of imbalances, fine. This could be just a dagger, but we have to at least expect that other than strong one directional movement, we're going to go at least a little bit lower. Difficulty. That is probably somewhere that Tom would have hit. Right? This zone here. Did that hit our midpoint? I don't think it did. Oh, nasty business. Nasty business. See if we get another sweep. Nope. Yeah, that's probably aping in if it goes below this candle. Probably aping in if it goes below this candle. What's that low there? 21.25? 21? That's a rough stop. It's a rough stop. And you're really looking for lower. More importantly, our thesis of this morning, range bound, looking for failure at some point, whether that came above here, whether that tapped into SNDR and left, right? We've now disrespected this SNDR. So we had the idea here, but we got held up by the 1 minute here. Okay? Which led us to trade higher, respecting this area. Came lower, broke here, traded back in. Exact same thing on a lower time frame. Now our expectation is to trade into our higher time frame SNDR here. So we're going to play catch. Right? We got our 1 minute change in order flow, which led into a trading range. We had a lethargic movement up, which led to failure now. The retest and the sweep into here, challenging to get a hold of, but we're looking for a trade back down now. So lower time frame to higher time frame SNDR. Let's see what we got. Yeah, pretty quick. Pretty quick. Why underneath this candle? Right? Same reason we didn't short underneath this one. Right? If we're going to continue failing, we've got our second sweep, cool. We're looking for expansion down. Now this traded higher and then went lower. We're still obviously involved in this. This is a swing now. Clearly we're stop break even. Yeah, probably a little bit too soon, but 55 points, I'm fine with that given the risk. Right? See if we get a trade back up into here for an adding. We'll see. Imbalance respected, and second sweep. There's Tom. There's Tom's ad. We'll give him 10. We'll give him 10 points. And at a minimum. At a minimum. Yeah, death. And there's your SNDR. Right? So first tap might give you a scalp above here. We didn't sweep any candle, so there is the possibility that it just goes flying down, depending on how aggressive you are. Yep, swept again and up. Cool. Institutional sponsorship, great. Ooh, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. Sorry, let's. Where were we? Strong movement. Still no swings, technically. Yeah, no swings technically. I'm going to wait for something a little bit more conclusive. And if that means I missed it and I need to get something like this, then fine. Obviously the area we're interested in. Not seeing any sweep of this yet. So wouldn't have been interested in that. You can understand this scalp if anybody would have taken something more aggressive. What do we got? Ooh. Anybody long? This is exactly what we were looking for. But still charging lower. Right? I think I'd be long off of this. I think I'd be long off of this. something like that. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, right? But we're monitoring for sure. So sweeping this candle should trade up to this open. Let's see what we get. Right? And the idea is that we're trading into the range here. Yes, we have liquidity below us. And if we're wrong, we're likely going below that. We didn't take that low, in fairness. Let's see what we got. Death. Death. Okay. So loss, cool. And looks like it's still, well, I have to sit on my hands now, at least for another bar. But I still like this for a long. Oof. What do we get? Oof. Okay, I've got to go long on that now. So long on the close of it. This is a little bit more of a swing. Right? So just below. And looking for probably that high there, yes. But ideally looking for this open. 54. So that there. Right? The idea is that we're failing underneath here. We're sweeping a lot of liquidity. We've just had another attempt at creating an expansionary bar that failed. So these are more inside. I liked that trade there because it failed underneath this one. And I like this trade here because it failed underneath here, and we've now mitigated the majority of this. We could get a sweep. Could get a sweep, but I'm just noticing all this failure. And if I'm wrong, then I take my loss. But there's just too much. There's too much interest for me to ignore. Ooh. Okay. Right. So now I want my stop underneath this candle. See what we got. Looking to see what kind of selling pressure we get into here, if we have to retake this long or not. But that's a nice body closure above here. So finally getting something we like. He knows. Oh, dangerous. Failing underneath here. Good lad. Okay. Now we've got our movement. So worst case scenario is we are break even. Worst case scenario. Is our entry bad? Yes, it is. Did we pay for confirmation? Yes, we did. Right? So I'm looking for expansionary. Come on. Expansionary type PA. Right? So I want like an attempt to fail here that's weak. Or I want another candle like this. Not very weak. I'm a little nervous with this position. We'll see. Do we get taken out? Okay, excellent. So should we fail it here, I'm gone. Right? We've tapped into this imbalance now. Still looking for the open here. See if we get it. This could lead to expansion. In which case, we'll probably get a trade back down. We'll see. This is not typically how I expect a higher time frame move to start. right? We would need something like this. Yep. Okay, and stop probably below here, but you could argue for sure taking it off in this in hindsight, obviously, but this type of PA is expansionary down, and I could safely say that given that this would have been a shorting opportunity, that I would have been out at the close of this at 45.50. Right? And the expectation now is probably to trade back down into this here. Very possible to take the low as well. Very possible. At minimum, we take this candle's low. Why? Because the open and the low of it coincide with each other, and we've now swept the high inside of an area of interest. Okay. That's rough. That's rough, but I'm going to pass on double dipping with the understanding that it very likely goes from here. Let's see what else we get. Ooh. Yep. Okay. Okay. Does it take the low? That's dangerous. Anybody long or anybody thinking we go lower? What are you guys thinking here? Okay. Buy, stop the high and go long. Okay. We definitely can all agree we like the buying pressure. We can equally agree we don't like the selling pressure for long. We all love the area of interest. What's the safer play? Clear sweep or something like this. Right? Why like that? Consolidation, trading back up into. And wait for a break of or change in order flow. Let's see what happens from this low. We can all agree that a decision point's very likely coming. Opens lower, sprints higher, likely expansionary. Yikes. Messins. But now we're starting to defend the midpoint of this range. Does everybody understand that concept? Right? We're trading to the extremes. But once we start defending here, now we're looking for expansion. So you can short and you can long, and you take your losses when they come, right? Why are we going long and short? Because we have valid highs and valid lows inside of this area. Looks like price ran into a wall. This tells you hiya. Whoop. That's rough. That's better. Second defense of the midpoint. Third defense of the midpoint. At this candle's open, you'll notice. You're gonna be screaming, come on, go, go, go. That's right. Yep. She's got to go now. There you are. Right? The conservative trade, this low is actually looking quite nice because it coincides with this. Let's see what we get. Let's trade here. Whoop. And do we go? Oh, look at that. Look at that drawing, lads. Look at that drawing. Nonsense. Would I short that? Yes. Yes. For a retracement back down to then get long. Right? But we're also really looking higher now. So this is risky. I'd much rather go long out of this. Oof. Anybody still short? Or we just, watch Bull get his face melted off? It's funny, last week, the P&L I posted, my shorting percentage, I was thinking about this last night, my shorting percentage was quite high in terms of net profit. And I think it's because I'm a lot more cautious waiting for shorts. So I only take the A++s. Whereas long, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I'm break even with the small loss. Oh yeah. No, this I like. This I like. I don't like that. No, this goes down. This goes down. Oop. Oop. Waiting for something to get swept, or is that good enough? Good enough for me. Suits me. Okay, let's say the top of this on the way back up. Cool. Where's your stop? That's the important question, isn't it? And when you're asking this, you're essentially asking, where are we wrong? Right? We can't do the bottom of this bearish candle yet because we don't know if our trade's right. Below the SNDR, right? Now, this is our fractal. You could argue that this is your SNDR itself, right? I like the reaction of this. I'm going to leave it slightly below it here. Right? We can move it to be below this candle if we trade above it. Because we're expecting this imbalance to be retracement into our area of interest and then go higher. So this is a case where if it trades in and respects this imbalance, that's just going to retrace back down on a lower time frame. This is a very important concept, because if we're going lower and we trade into the imbalance, now we're looking for the low to get taken. If we're expecting the imbalance to be a retracement rather than continuation, we're expecting the imbalance to retrace as well to go higher. So this is where, when we're trading our sweep model, that we can go expecting this to be manipulation and move our stop here. Let's see what we get. Right? Perfect example. Have we respected the imbalance? Yes. But we've also traded above that candle. We've got a casual 3.5 point stop here. We're up 15.5 points. Ridiculous risk reward. Ridiculous risk reward. You probably could have a runner, 79.50. We'll go this. Just a casual 11.7 for those of you that love your statistics. Right? But this is how you refine your zones down. You'll notice that imbalance retraced down. You're now break even. We've got a body closure above this candle. Bang. Holy RR is right. If you're trailing your lows, you're still in. Right? Trading into here, cool. Might get a little movement sideways to down, we'll see. But this looks to me like we're starting larger swings. Right? Or larger swings. If we had something like this, this is going to lead to a pretty big rejection. Whoop. Oh dear. Right? And where's our target? Out of curiosity. You've got your intermediate. My goodness, this magnet. Right? Our target is the SMDR here that broke out of this range. We've traded into it now. This is unmitigated. Certainly would expect a reaction out of the midpoint of this. There's no SNDR here. But we're actually going to look at these highs. So how do we do this? Because my primary way of trading, as you guys all well know, is scalping. So how do you look at these trades from a swing trading perspective? This is when you zoom out. So this entire morning we were waiting for an A+ setup. And those of you that enjoy your longer term moves with smaller size, you might be long in here, or at least off the retest. And now you're looking at this, right? Playing the higher time frame retracement. And you're now looking to see, do you get continuation? Right? So never mind this. Let's say we were looking for the retest, right? The scalpers in us made 40 points, cool. But some of you guys are like, you know what? I'm actually going to trade 4 micros. And this is the low of day. That's your low of day right there. And you don't want to be out of this quick, especially seeing swings form and being held. So what do? Well, for starters, you're not expecting it to take 2 minutes. It might. But your next concern is what happens to this SNDR, because now you're looking at it from an intermediate time frame perspective. Right? So your swing, 26.75. Right? And this is what you're doing. So now you're monitoring the retracements. And what you don't want to see is you don't want to see failure. Similarly to what happened here. Because now we've started our bullish trend. We'll see what happens with this SNDR, but we'll treat this trade now as a swing for those of you who like to hold a little bit longer, with the expectation of actually cleaning up this high, which was never dealt with today. And if we get failure, then we're gone. We'll see. Okay. I'll try that. I'll try that, Zach. Thanks. Right. So no concerns so far. You're seeing 1 minute PA, yes. And you're seeing different little failures above and below, which is leading you to your lower time frame retracements as it does this. But what you're looking for is what are these legs doing? Right? Because the 1 minute's just going to deliver the 15-minute order flow, which is going to deliver your higher time frame. And you guys will have your multi-time frame analysis video today as well. Possibly, yeah. Very likely. Right, it's trading back down into this. Your concern is if we trade below this or not. Right? And if we trade below this and trade up and fail, then you can take your swing position off. As it stands right now, we're expecting this area to act as support to deliver our higher time frame order flow. Cool. There's your body closure. These are violent bars. These are 10-point candles. Right? They look small. That one's 14. right? But we're not nervous with this when we're looking for swings. We're looking for what the intermediate time frame is doing. And if the intermediate time frame is going to fail, you're not going to see it occur like this. This is just retracing. Now your retracement could lead back down to here. Right? So it'll be important to see what happens in the next couple of candles with this. We're now trading into our area of interest. We're now getting a bit of a climactic shove. Why? Because everybody who's shorting expecting this just covered. And by the way, how many people have been trying to short for the way back down in prior life? Instead of sitting on hands waiting for something strategic for a long scalp or been involved in this long swing. What are we up right now? Just a casual 122 points. What's the chances it makes this work for the last bit? We're starting to see acceleration. Cool. Right into the midpoint. So what's your concern if you're long? Still swinging this long. Right? We've now created a swing. Again, what are we looking for? We're looking for, do we have failure? Which leads to a retracement down. Now, this retracement down could do this. Back down to the area that broke. I'm not personally keen on giving back that much profit. So should we trade above this, which is the expectation? Why? Because we're delivering higher. On our intermediate time frame, I should say. Then I'm out of the swing. Because I don't want to hold through that drawdown, and I will re-enter somewhere. Well, not there. Somewhere down here. Okay. So if we get strong PA underneath this, gone. Better. We're still in, boys. We're still in. Oop. Oh. All right, so this is a retracement now. Get your SNDR. Still swinging. Still swinging. Gotta give it a little bit more time. Trip to Madrid. Right? You notice how we're not looking at whether we're sweeping or failing or whatnot. We're watching price deliver from an intermediate time frame perspective. Is this helpful or slightly entertaining or nonsense? Right? We're getting a bit of a top action in here. Right? It helps to zoom out occasionally and actually understand who's in control and what's going on, rather than each individual tick. Yeah, there's definitely different ways to get involved in this for sure. Right, so first tap, potentially second tap, strong response out of this, as you would expect with higher time frame price delivery. It's not the candles, it's the response. Right? Now we're holding this as an order block, and we continue higher. Probably quite a bit higher. Holding order block, continue higher. And holding the order block. Holding the order block. Holding the order block. Higher we go. We understand? Trading back in, right? Consolidation. We've got a large range here. This is our first test, right? We need a base in here or continue onward. We're expecting at some point, this is a structural high, higher time frame high. We would expect to trade away from it. So what we're monitoring here is, does this SNDR break this high and come back in? Or are we not going to break this right now? And that's fine. And we trade below it and fail. Two equally viable scenarios. We're prepared for either. We're up. God, what are we up right now? 151? Let's be honest, who would have taken it off here instead of getting the last 15 points? No shame. No shame. I might be out. 90% of us would have been out here. Yeah. A long time ago. And that's fine. Bats is still in. Bats is holding at 21,000 because of the 10-second fair value gap. Or something else. Right. We're in 156 points. Still 60 points too low for Tom to take it. Here we go. What do we get? Do we get consolidation? Who's nervous? Ooh, saved. All right, holding this consolidation. Good. Okay. And we might trade back down to this. That's rough. Sweeping. Okay. This is challenging. This is challenging. Right? We're creating swings. Yeah. In theory, yes. Yes. I should be holding at least to the break of this low for a swing. But this is looking a little sus. Right? So we'll go by the book. We'll go by the book. Oh. Yeah, neither do I. Neither do I. But we're looking for body closure underneath. Back testing. Why am I nervous? What do we got here? Not part of structure. Probably coming for that low. And sweep. There's your long trade. There's your long trade. Yeah, you scalpers. Still in this nonsense. Let me out. Let me out. Up. Get going. You son. Yes. Hey! Right. Happy days. Happy days. 188. 188. What a prick. Look at that. Higher time frame SNDR. Sweeping a protected low. What did you guys have banked? 40 points on that? Legends. Legendas. Right? But the key is looking for what the 15 minutes is going to do. It's going to create swings, trade back into them. All right? Create swings, trade back into them. Create swings, trade back into them. We're following our protected lows. So you catch parabolic moves. You catch parabolic moves by taking your trade and following your lower time frame lows, right? So taking off here, cool. But you catch higher time frame swings by following your protected lows up. Right? So, thank you for spending your Sunday. We're going to call it here after a couple hours. And I'll get this recording sorted. Hit me up with any questions, comments, concerns, and fun stuffs. And yeah, appreciate all you guys. We'll talk very soon. Cheers.